Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to service the transmission for a 2014 Chevrolet Volt. This is an essential service for this car and is probably going to cost you at least $300 or $400 if you take it to the dealer or mechanic. And this is something you could do in your garage, no problem. This is fairly easy. It looks a little bit complicated, but I promise if you follow along in the video, you'll knock it out of the park. So let's don some eye protection and jump into it. The first thing we're going to do is remove part of the air intake system. What I'm going to do is take a T30 Torx, remove these two bolts, and then take an 8mm socket and loosen these hose clamps here and right here. I know it's a little tricky to see. Just trust me, they're there. And we should be able to pull the tubes off of the intake boots, and then remove this whole plastic piece and get it out of there. And then right here between the engine and the hybrid system, right there, this bolt right there is the fill plug, and we need to remove that. A lot of people get upset with me when I don't remove the fill plug first, but I've always made the argument you're gonna have to get the bolt out anyway, one way or another. It doesn't matter. Just remove this one first. Before we remove it though, let's grab some compressed air and just blow the dirt out. And then we're going to put a very long extension on a 19mm socket and remove the fill port. That's not on, it wasn't on very tight at all. And there we go. Looks pretty easy. So that's what it looks like when you remove it. And then we need to remove our drain plug. So this is underneath the vehicle on the right side if you're standing directly in front of the vehicle. And it is right there. And that is an 11mm fastener that we can remove out of there. And when I'm draining the fluid, I'm putting it into a bucket so I can measure how much has come out. Relatively clean bucket. There we go. Well, the fluid doesn't look too bad. That's cool. And just let that drain out. Once the drip is slowed to about this much, just clean off that surface. I've already cleaned off the drain plug too, so do that if you haven't, because there is a little magnet on there and we don't want that getting back into our transmission once it's already out, and we want that nice and clean. And then I'm going to take my torque wrench. You don't really need to use a torque wrench, but people get upset when I don't. And the torque specification is 106 inch-pounds. Listen to that distinction, inch-pounds. There you go. Now, why did I have you collect the fluid instead of just putting it in an oil catch? Well, that's because I'm going to use this old fluid to measure how much is going to go in the transmission, because it varies a little bit. It can vary anywhere from 7 quarts to 7.5 quarts, and then completely dry. I think the capacity is like 9 quarts, but that's if you did a full rebuild, which we didn't do. So we kind of need to know how much to put into it. Unless your transmission's leaking, and I mean it's leaking, there's puddles on the ground, and you fix the leaking problem and you need to know how much to put back in, I would go ahead and just put 7 in it and go from there. But I'm gonna measure mine out so I know exactly how much to put in it, and I'll be good to go. So I'm just gonna take a clean measuring vessel such as this one. Alrighty. So that's 4 quarts, because we know that this is a gallon and it's filled all the way up. So we're so far at 4 quarts. And then continue to fill. Okay, so that's all my ATF drained out. It looks like we only got, I know you can't really see on camera, but it's like right up to here. We're like just at 7 quarts. So I'm gonna do what GM recommended and just put 7 in. It should be good to go. And then top side, we're gonna grab a transmission funnel and put it into that fill port where we removed that bolt earlier. It's a little tricky. There we go. So you just want to make sure that that's not going to get loose and make a big mess somewhere. So it should look something like that. Now we're ready to add our fluid, and you might be thinking, Ryan, wait, stop. What about a filter? There is a filter in this transmission, but you have to take the transmission out to get to it. So it's not really a normal service interval item, which is why the service interval for the fluid is every 20,000 miles, I believe, or 2 years, whichever one comes first, because you want to keep that fluid nice and clean. I know, I didn't design it. If I designed it, it'd have a can filter right on the side, just like an engine oil filter. I'm gonna go ahead and put in this 4 quarts of, and our fluid for today is Dextron 6 by AC Delco, aka General Motors. If you're watching this somewhere in the future and they don't have Dextron 6, go ahead and get Dextron 7 or 8. Usually they are backwards compatible unless stated otherwise. So we're going to go ahead and add in this 4 quarts. Okay, there is our 7th quart. I have 7 quarts of fluid in the transmission currently. Now what we can do is remove our transmission funnel. There we go. Set that aside. So I've already cleaned off the fill bolt and lubricated the new O-ring with a little bit of ATF. You can also use WD-40, it's fine. And we can replace that. And then I'm just going to bring that down to touch. Just like that. Nice. And our torque spec for today is 15 foot-pounds. That was easy. There we go. Get our socket on out of there. And then we need to put this back on, because we need to start the engine. And if you don't, mass airflow sensor won't be happy. It would still technically start, for the record. It just would have a check engine light. Nice. And then we're going to tighten these hose clamps down. Just wrist tight is fine. People over tighten these all the time. They don't need to be like Hulk tight. Just wrist tight, trust me. And those are an 8mm, just wrist tight so they don't fall off is perfectly acceptable. This is good. So now what we're gonna do is turn the car on with the hood up so the engine clicks on. There we go. And we're going to let that run for a full 5 minutes to ensure that the damper is full and it's up to temperature. Now it's been 5 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and put the gear select with my foot on the brake into reverse, neutral, drive, then all the way up back to park, then back to reverse, then neutral, then drive, then park, and then reverse, and then I can set it back to park. And we're good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car off. GM says to actually leave the car running while you're doing this next step. I'm just not a big fan of cars running in the air because of a runaway situation or something I can't quite control. Feel free to leave yours on. I'm gonna turn mine off. And then right here is actually our inspection port. And what that's going to be able to do is let us check our level. And this is on the outside of the transmission, a little bit higher up, and it is 11mm just like the other one, but it might leak out. Actually, we're hoping it does. There we go. Okay, so we're a little over full. So I apologize, in the last frame, I had the wrong bolt framed up. Sorry about that. And then once it's slowed to a little bit of a dribble like this, it's just like a differential, we're gonna replace our plug. I've already cleaned that off nice and thoroughly. And replace that plug there, there we go. So there's the actual plug. Again, apologize earlier, I couldn't get a good camera on it because of how the car is built. I'm just gonna cinch that down. I think the torque spec is 106 inch-pounds just like before, but I'm just gonna do wrist tight and call it good. Just like that. So the next thing I want to show you is the actual instructions from General Motors. You can only get these if you are subscribed to their service like I am. And you can see that this is where I get my torque figures from on camera and everything. I don't just know this right off the bat. But I'll draw your attention to right here where it says 7 to 7.4 quarts. That's right about what this thing is going to take. And you think, okay, I'm going to put 7 in it. I'm all good. Which we were this time. That's excellent. But look at the check procedure, which I just walked you through, and it says right there to then turn the engine off after you've done this procedure, but I turned mine off because, again, I don't like engines running above me. And you might look right there, and it says grand total approximately 9.4 quarts, which is 2.5 basically quarts more than we put in. And I'm showing you this because you need to verify how much came out of it. Ours came out at about 7 or so, but GM needs to prepare for a transmission that let a little bit more out. And did they replace the filter? Did they replace the entire transmission and it's completely dry? Yours probably isn't. So I basically walked you through what you would do in a home garage type situation. And then again, And then the other situation I didn't cover because mine had plenty of fluid in it is if it doesn't have fluid right here to a slow drip, go ahead and add about half a quart until you get a slow drip out of it, just like you would on a differential or a manual transmission. It's sort of the same thing on that fill procedure. A little different, but very similar. So I just want to go ahead and show you that in case you're wondering, well, why doesn't he just tell me the exact number to put in? Well, even General Motors doesn't know that information. So you have to kind of do that procedure that I was showing you.
So that is how to service a transmission for a 2014 or the first gen Chevrolet Volt. Like I said, this is a very important service and you need to do it every 20,000 miles or every 2 years, whichever comes first, because you can't service the filter without removing the transmission, which obviously you're not going to do. So as a result, you need to be up to date on these transmission services. I would do it literally every third or fourth oil change. That's how important keeping this fluid nice and fresh in this transmission is. And remember, if you treat your car right, it'll treat you right and won't leave you stranded. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting at all, please consider becoming a member by clicking that join button down below. It is a direct way to help the channel out. Barring that, a like, subscription, and comment go a really long way and help my channel out a whole bunch, and I so appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.